Hi, I Chandrashekhar Tilak welcome you all in this special episode as far as my pre-budget economic surveys are concerned. I can't use the word survey right at the outset because the concept economic survey is being associated in our country to the document submitted by the finance ministry officially giving the status of economy on the eve of presentation of budget. And as all of us are quite aware, that budget for the financial year 2022-2023 is going to be presented by Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji to our Parliament on February 1st, 2022. So I think it proper that we should have a look at the status of our economy on the eve of a budget. I was avoiding to use the word on the eve of budget basically because I am releasing this particular video at least 1 week in advance. But even otherwise, there are various news which have prompted me to take cognizance of a status of our economy just before the budget for the year 2022 or for short budget 2020-2022. What is budget 2022 will get unfolded as of 1st of February is concerned. But much before that, a discussion has started flaring and appearing as far as the various media, whether it is electronic, print or otherwise, or including the social one, is being concerned. Under such circumstances, something is happening which has been really demanded, and something is happening which has not been officially demanded, but market or certain respective field has assumed. Let us take two classical examples thereof. It's a fact that bank organizations have made a representation to the finance ministry of our country that they should consider giving the same treatment to the bank deposits as far as the taxation provisions are concerned. What their concern is that if mutual fund related tax saving scheme is having a lock-in period of only 3 years as far as the tax concessions are concerned, then the bank deposits should not have the same holding period to the tune of 5 years. It should be equivalent to 3 years as just like mutual fund. Yes, this particular demand has been really made, and it is not known whether the finance ministry has considered to it or not. We will have to wait till the presentation of a budget on 1st of February for this. But one thing is very clear, that this particular demand, at least prima facie, seems to be just. Whether government would be willy-nilly considering it or not is very difficult question to answer. Based on my experience of budget analysis as well as the capital market operations, I personally feel that government may not concede, and certainly not at this particular point of time. It is basically for two reasons. Point number one, the taxation is even otherwise a delicate subject to discuss. And especially when there is a discussion that their government is really considering, it's a discussion, it's not a decision. There is a difference between discussion and decision. There is a discussion in our country that our ministry or our government is considering to replace the personal income tax with expenditure tax. It is another kind of a kite flying. But considering this, if it is really going to be the case, it doesn't make any sense to give any income tax exemptions. Under such circumstances, when somebody floats the idea that there is every likelihood in this particular forthcoming budget that ATCCA limit may get extended from 1.5 lakh to 2.5 lakh. All these things, that giving a concession for a bank deposit or equal treatment to the bank deposit as of a mutual fund, at the same time enhancing the ATCCA limit from existing 1.5 lakh to 2.5 lakh, can't coexist with a concept that personal income tax itself will get abolished in this forthcoming budget. Because if there is no income tax, where is the question of an income tax exemption thereinto? And both the things can't coexist. And that's why these particular discussions need to be weighed considerably and sincerely and seriously. If it is going to be just a political game or a political upmanship, one can say anything. And although budget is almost a political economy document, one has to realize that has to be a content of economy even in that political economy. Under such circumstances, on one hand, enhancement of a tax exemption and can't coexist with the abolition of the tax itself on the other hand. And under such circumstances, the market is also relaxing or behaving or relaying even on the spread of a rumor. We have witnessed it on Monday, 24th of January 2022. Neither the government, nor the finance ministry, nor the taxation department of our country has ever said that they are going to tinker with a long-term capital gain tax or LTCG. But on Monday, January 24, 2022, the BSE Sensex tanked by more than 1,550 points on a day closure. During the day, it had gone down as low by 1900 points to the extent. And a trigger was told to be that someone spread a rumor or someone spread a news that government is thinking of increasing the LTCG rate from 10% to 15%, and not only that, but even a holding period which is under consideration for current LTCG regime of a period of 1 year may get extended to a period of 3 years. As I said just now, that neither the government nor the finance ministry nor the taxation department has said or indicated anything to that effect. By the time I am recording this particular video, there is no denial of this fact as well. Under such circumstances, just because someone was saying, market has reacted thereinto. Leave aside certain temporary phases, because this is not new, or this is not happening for the first time, that market has reacted positively or negatively on any hearsay just before the budget. We are used to it for last few years now. Under such circumstances, certain hard facts need to be considered as far as presentation of a budget on 1st of February 2022 is concerned. Certainly, this is going to be a better year as far as economy is concerned. If not better, it is certainly not as bad as it was in 2020 or 2021. On one hand, we have got used to corona. If not other way, at least in one sense, we have learned how to live with corona. And if it is true with we Indian individual citizens, then it is equally true as a national economy. There is a saying in Marathi, a famous Marathi writer Shri M. Mate of years have said, Desh manje deshatli mansa. By reverse or by converse, it means cumulative Indian populace, mind and economy is a national economy. Under such circumstances, if we people individually have started behaving and coordinating ourselves, considering the circumstances prevailing, then the economy is as well. And even otherwise, compared to many other countries of the world, the GDP rates registered by our country are much encouraging. And especially they become much more encouraging when China, compared to its earlier glorious past, have started recording much more reasonable rational rates as far as the Chinese economy are concerned. So at least as of now, the gap between Indian GDP growth rate and Chinese GDP growth rate are considerably within a band. Under such circumstances, there is every likelihood that our country as a policy and our country as a principle may adopt certain better things. And if we have to look forward to it, I personally feel that budget, when it is going to be presented on February 1st, 2022, may be more on a policy side rather than on the practical side. It would be more conceptually in nature rather than being the practicalities to be observed. As such, the policy directions may be much more, which have been already embodied or mentioned as far as our Atmanirbhar statement by our Honorable Prime Minister way back is concerned. One thing we have certainly seen moving into that particular direction. First and foremost is the factor which needs to be considered is the emergence of a public sector in good faith. After taking a mammoth decision of divesting completely Air India, there is every likelihood that government may consider if the LIC Air India issue goes through, because Tatas have already made the payment. Only the actual possession being handed over to Tata Group is pending. But it's merely a matter of time. It's not a matter of a policy decision. It is a matter of a detail. And once this thing happens, LIC IPO is in the offing. That is going to be the biggest IPO our Indian capital market history has ever witnessed. And certainly government would not keep any stone unturned in order to ensure the huge success thereinto. And if it really goes through, because those signals would be very clear as of now to the government, then there is every likelihood that government may enhance the disinvestment targets as far as the financial year 2022-2023 is concerned. I have to make this statement with a pinch of salt, because if we see the history as far as our disinvestment targets and its accomplishment is concerned, the record is pathetic. But even then, just take a case of LIC itself. Although that issue of process is underway as of now, the first ever announcement of LIC IPO was made 2 years back. Nothing happened in the succeeding financial year. Then again that announcement was made in 1st of February 2021 budget, and thereafter only the things started moving. But now they are in final stages, and it is expected that by the time you hear this particular video or you view this particular video, government might have filed the papers with SEBI as far as LIC IPO is concerned. Buoyed by that, government is already on the record saying that immediately after LIC IPO, the disinvestment related to IDBI Bank would be undertaken. This announcement was made once again in 2020. Same is the case of a disinvestment of 2 public sector insurance companies. I personally feel that if these three go ahead, government would be emboldened to enhance the disinvestment target. And if we really see that enhanced disinvestment target as far as the budget to be presented on 1st of February 2022 is concerned, there is every likelihood that profit-making and progressive government sector companies like Indian Postal Payment Bank may be on the anvil. One has to take cognizance of the positive facts which are happening as far as the public sector enterprises are concerned. It is not only the fact that government has already declared that the public sector enterprises in entirety would be divided into 2 broad categories as core and non-core. And even in a course, any particular industry which is being claimed by the government as a core industry, not more than 4 public sector enterprises would remain. Under such circumstances, the public sector enterprises in that particular core sector, if the number is more than 4, that number which is in excess of 4 may either get merged into these primary 4 or they may get completely divested. And that's why I said that divestment target may happen. And as far as the non-core proclaimed sector is concerned, it has been already stated on record that government has no role to play as far as this thing is concerned, and those things would be wound up. So those would be the another candidate thereinto. And that's why probably we have seen a recent trend where the professional private sector companies are entering into agreement with dominant progressive public sector enterprises. Till now in the economic history of our country, especially the economic history of our independent India is concerned, it was always the other way around. In last 30 years, we have seen many examples where government companies have entered into a memorandum of understanding with the private sector companies. But we have seen a recent example where HDFC Bank has entered into an agreement with the Indian Postal Payment Bank. This trend needs to be looked into, and there is every likelihood that there will be certain policy announcements as far as budget to be presented on 1st of February 2022 is concerned. Another feature which we can certainly look into as far as look forward to as far as the budget to be presented on 1st of February is concerned would be the largest capex as far as the infrastructure sectors like railway is concerned. It is not only because Piyush Goyal led ministry has shown certain major plans thereinto, but the way in which the companies like IRCTC and Concor are performing, and way in which the need and dimensions of logistic industry have got underlined in various ways during this corona phase, one thing is very certain, railway needs to look into. It is not only from the viewpoint of a monetization of asset or leverage of its services, but probably the spread thereinto needs to be considered. Especially seeing the advent of railway for the first time in many states of northeastern are concerned, or seeing that certain shackles have been broken as far as the areas like higher hills of Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, or even Leh Ladakh is concerned. Certainly, the entire gamut of railway travel, including in a continuation of a civil aviation, needs to be understood. Especially after seeing the success of privatization of Tejas Express from Bombay to Ahmedabad, leave aside the political destinations involved thereinto, the commercial destinations and derivatives need to be looked into. Under such circumstances, not only from the viewpoint of railway, but entire logistic industry can certainly favorably and positively look forward to a major positive and progressive announcement as far as this industry is concerned. Similar thing can happen as far as the space research and commercial utilization of those things are concerned. Since 2014, there are various budgets and numerous budgets or the discussions thereinto, where the successive three finance ministers, namely Arun Jaitley, interim finance minister for some time, Piyush Goyal, and now Nirmala Sitharamanji have already said as far as the commercial utilization of ISRO facilities are concerned. And seeing the role played by ISRO in built up to our major things, then certainly we can look into. A fourth area which needs to be looked into would be the retail industry and especially the online retail business. Not only because the major gamut of our industrial empire, namely Reliance, in the form of their Reliance Retail are spreading the wings, Tata Group have taken over under such circumstances as malls have witnessed the various restrictions, subsequent relaxations and consecutive restrictions. Certainly the retail industry has moved from mall-based industry to online-based industry. Under such circumstances, this area needs to be looked into. Otherwise, we may face some problems as we have faced in the past related to telecom. So, telecom and retail can be another talking points as far as the forthcoming budgets are concerned. One can go on and on as far as the various facets of economy is concerned. But one has to take note that certainly the upskillment or upskilling as far as the labor forces of our country is concerned, not only the professional courses, but right from the primary education has really become a talking point as far as the fulcrum of the economy is concerned. Because it has really been worst affected industry just like tourism in our country. So civil aviation, tourism and education can be the another area. Purposely I am not talking about pharmaceutical because it has worked as a god as well as a demon as far as last 2.5 years are concerned. I am not here to say the nexus between the various forces thereinto. But now people have every reason to believe that as Y2K is supposed to be a fraud inflicted by IT industry on a global scale some years back, probably Corona is the successor there too. Under such circumstances, efforts and images of our pharmaceutical industry has to undergo a change. Whether government in the nature of a regulatory as well as a developmental measure initiates something, even at least as a policy, needs to be looked into. Probably this would be a good curtain raiser as far as the discussion for budget 2022 is concerned. I hope it would meet your expectation and it would encourage me to come with another video immediately after the budget is presented to you. Till then, best wishes for budget 2022. Thank you very much.